All right, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? I am just now leaving the house. I am sticking to my new set schedule. So that's Monday through Friday, 9:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. guaranteed. I'm obviously there significantly more than that, but at least now I have guaranteed hours. So I'm putting them on Google and all that kind of stuff. So if people do just want to drop in, I'm available. But regardless, before I get there, I'm gonna stop by. I have two potential GPU buys. So Facebook Marketplace has been booming with like tons of people selling off hardware, older hardware. I assume to try to get newer hardware. Before I pull out of the driveway, I'll just go ahead and tell y'all. The first one I'm going to go look at is a 2080 Super, and the guy said everything works, everything's fine, and I'm like, hey, can I test it? Do you have something to test it when we're there? And he's like, yeah, I think so. We can put it in my other computer. And I'm like, that's awesome, because I just bought a 2080 the other day. That's no bueno. By the way, there's going to be further testing on that one before we give up the ghost on it. So don't worry about that. Now, and the other one is a 1080 Ti. The guy had it listed up for 150 bucks or best offer. I shot him a message and I'm like, hey, are you looking for anything else? I got some other cards, like you want to trade in, trade out, all that kind of stuff. And he was like, I'm actually looking for a CPU and motherboard, and he's building a custom NAS drive system. And I'm like, well, I don't know exactly, I'm not huge into like network attached to storage, but these are some of the motherboards I got. These are some of the CPUs. He did not like any of the motherboards, but he did like, hold on, where is it? He did like a CPU, so I grabbed that from the office. Let's see here. Where is it? I think it was this one. Yeah, this Ryzen 5 1600. I had no idea that these were good for a NAS drive or a budget NAS system. But yeah, so I'm swapping the Ryzen 5 1600 out for the 1080 Ti. So I can't complain with that, because like value-wise, that's a really good deal on my part, and I guess it saves him having to hunt down a CPU. So whatever works, you know, whatever works. And just to address the people out there that are like, how do you find all these deals? If you guys saw my video from like a couple videos ago, I don't always win on the deals. Like that 2080 I got that I plugged in and he said worked and didn't work. That's what happens when you're out running around grabbing deals and not able to check everything. So that leads me to my last point here before we get going. I want to build me a mobile, like little mini setup. And I don't know exactly how I want to go about it, but I'd love if the whole enclosure could just be lifted up with some kind of handle. I'm thinking like maybe I end up building me something custom and then include a some kind of battery inside of it. I'd love if it's an all-in-one system. Although I could just do an inverter and then run it off the truck. So, because I mean I'll have to run an inverter or a something to get 120 power anyway. That'd probably be cheaper, just run it off the truck. I mean, a little box, plug it in, test out cards, little benchy setup where I can like pop the top off and it's a horizontal board instead of vertical. I think that probably would do well. Anyway, let's go get to it and let's go get us some graphics cards. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so welcome back. We made it into the office, stopped by the first guy's place, and literally like as I'm pulling in, he was like, oh, it just sold. Or well, no, I get the notification on Facebook Marketplace, you know, this item has sold. And I'm like, is he talking about like me? And so then I send a message in there and he's like, oh, it just sold, sorry. And I'm like, and he knew I was coming. But luckily it was on the way to work, so I'm not like too pressed about it. It's just, that is literally like the epitome of Facebook Marketplace. But I did end up getting that 1080 Ti. It's an MSI blower card. I've had a ton of these. They're pretty decent. So MSI Aero 1080 Ti, 11 gig, and traded out for a Ryzen 5 1600. Absolutely, that's a deal right there. That's a deal. I don't know what Ryzen 5 1600s are going for. I have a couple of them on my website. I think I sell them for like, I think they're like 60 bucks maybe 70. I'm not sure off the top of my head. But They still are a 6-core 12-thread, and that's what he was looking for, a Ryzen-based chip with 6 cores. And I'm like, that fits the ticket. I mean, it's literally, I think, the lowest end 6-core Ryzen you could get, but he was happy, I'm happy, whatever works. If everybody's happy, that's all that matters. So I'm gonna bring this guy inside, and being that I got it for such a good deal, I'm like, should this be like the new like shop GPU? I don't know, maybe, we'll see. 1080 Ti still ain't no slouch when it comes to getting some 1080p done. Although I don't do any gaming in the office, so that might just be a waste. Regardless, let's go inside. All right, guys, so I'm back in the office. You probably saw this computer, or you may have saw this computer in a previous video. The guy was having issues with it. He brought it in. I replugged everything back in, no issues. So he ran it for a little while, and he was just like, hey, man, I'm going to sell this one because I already bought another computer. And I'm like, no problem. He brought it in. Got it for a good price. He hooked me up. Shout out. Appreciate it, bud. And then I was like, well, I threw it up online, tried to sell it. It's a 3900X CPU with a 3060 Ti Founders. I got literally no bites. Like, nobody wanted to touch it. I lowered the price. And I'm like, at this point, I'm going to pull the CPU, pull the GPU. I'm going to put a lower end CPU in there, a lower end GPU, and then sell it for like really cheap to kind of move the system. It's always a shame when you kind of got to part out a system, because it feels like, you know, you're doing an injustice, but the CPU is just worth a little too much to try to back the price down on this system. But it's got a nice little, you know, 120 AIO water cooler. Honestly, kind of small for a 3900X if you're going to push it, but I love the design of this case. Kind of looks like a little, you know, vending machine or something. So but yeah, so the 3900X, it's crazy because parts sell so much better, but I listed them on the website. 3900X sold within a couple hours. 3060 Ti Founders sold that night that I listed it. So those things sold over the weekend. Now it's Monday. It's time to pack these bad boys up and get these shipped out. So shout out to order number 1230. They got the 3900X, and then I'll get to, I don't know what order number got the 3060 Ti, but heck yeah. All right, so I got the 3060 Ti and the 3900X out, and I just put a Ryzen 3 I believe it's a 3200G in there, and a 1660 Super. Now obviously this is a huge step down in performance, but I mean, for your average person wanting to buy a computer, I can offer this at a much better price than a 3900X build. It looks good, it'll sell fast, so that way I don't have to hold on to it and try to sell a more expensive system. That is the landscape that I'm in right now. Budget systems just sell better. So anyways, with that being said, I'm gonna call it for today. I hope y'all have a good one. I'll see you on the next one. Adios.